Yo, welcome back to Crossroads Boxing Review. We're missing CJ today. He's out today. So we've had to draft in Dan. He's one of my pals. He'll be joining us talking about the Eubank Ben card. But before we start, we'll go to our promo video for D-Rock Clothing. Jesus. God, everyone's in the comments already. I wasn't expecting that comments already, but right, big up. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 2 of the Boxing Weekend Review. We're doing Eubank Ben this week, and what a weekend. I know all three of us on here are smiling ear to ear, buzzing for since Saturday, so I can't wait to get into this. How are you doing, Ricky?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Up in sunny Scotland yet again. Still recovering from the weekend, really. Obviously, I finished that article yesterday. So, yeah, all good. Really happy with the results. And I can't wait to crack on with the show, really. What about you, Dan?
Mate, I'm over the moon. I mean, even more so with the result of Eubank actually beating Ben. But, you know, it's a fantastic night of boxing overall. No complaints from me. And yeah, obviously it was fantastic to be there live in the flesh. So yeah, fantastic, man.
Yeah, we get a view of someone who was in the building for that absolute madness that took place. Because for me, just wishing all that time, all the promotion that Senior would pull up, just wishing that it would just pull up, and the fact that he did, that just made it all for me. That just made it perfect. We'll start off with the Billum Smith versus Glanton fight. I didn't quite get to catch it because we wasn't at the venue just yet at the watch party, but I know Ricky watched it and Dan watched it as well. So Ricky, we'll go with you first. What do you make of it?
Yeah, so this fight was a fight that I kind of expected Chris to win. I predicted him to win. I kind of thought he was going to use his range a little bit, especially in the earlier rounds. But that Glanton, he was just on him from the get-go. He just brought him into a big dog fight, really. Just pressure. Chris Billum, he was quite good for the first 2 rounds, but the third round, it just looked like he gassed. I don't know whatever reason or for what reason, but breathing through his mouth, it became like slow, sluggish, and that Glanton then were then just pushing him back constantly, hitting him on the ropes, 4-punch combinations, head and body, mixing it up. He was doing well, and I kind of thought, fucking hell, Chris is in trouble here, really. But he seemed to sort of also then start gassing himself. Obviously, big muscle mass, big lad, very strong. I just kind of thought Chris then started to be able to pick up on the middle rounds. He started picking the body a bit better. The shots were a bit more hurtful. They sounded a bit more hurtful. And he sort of got his second wind. So he was just able to box a lot better. He ended up getting the points victory, unanimous decision. I thought it was the right result. You can't really moan too much about it. I thought it was a good opening fight, to be fair. And I was quite impressed with both fighters and the ability of Chris Billum Smith to be able to turn it around. But yeah, what you guys?
You got to add up to that?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of echo what Ricky said, I thought it was a pretty fun, entertaining fight, especially to open up the card. In terms of like a tune-up fight and a combat fight for Chris Billum Smith, it was extremely tough. Glanton game. Obviously, there was for the fight, which would have spurred on Billum Smith even further. But no, for as long as it went on, for the rounds that it went, it was thoroughly entertaining. As Ricky said, I think Billum Smith was the rightful winner. But kudos to Brandon Glanton as well. He was strong, kept coming forward, applying pressure all throughout each and every round. But yeah, just to kind of echo what Ricky said, eventually he did kind of expend a lot of energy within that as well. But yeah, kudos to both guys, and yeah, credit to Billum Smith. It'll be interesting next. You know, there's some good fights for him at cruiserweight. He's talking about getting back to world level, potentially with Badu Jack. How realistic that is, I'm not quite sure, but there's going to be some fun fights for him, most definitely.
Yeah, it's good to see him embrace at the end of the fight as well, after everything that was said and in the build-up. I know Glanton apologised for what he said, but it's good to see that happening. We'll move on to
what did he say though? To be fair, because I saw the apologies and I saw the embracement, but I don't know. I kind of missed.
He said he was going to give Chris Smith brain damage, and his son's gonna have he's got a bitch for it. Some just something that one. You know me, Ricky. I like promotion. I don't mind what's said in promotion, but that one was a bit far.
Yeah, a bit detailed.
Yeah,
especially the fact that they don't really know each other like that. You know, it's come out of nowhere. Just a big shout out to comments for a minute. We've got Ra in the building. First as usual, Ra saying hurry up. Mr. Neutral in the building. Stevie, big up. Lisa, hi everyone.
That's my mum. That one.
Ra says, wait a second, ain't Dan from Brum. We've drafted him in today. We've drafted him in. Evening Yorkshire lads. I absolutely loved the fight. Yeah, we'll go with the next fight on the card, which for me, and I think a lot of people thought this was a 50-50 fight. Going in, I thought it was a 50-50, probably be the fight of the night. It was going to be a close decision win, a split decision for Chev, I picked. But was I wrong? I was completely wrong on that. Vidal Riley didn't surprise me with how good he was. He surprised me of how much he outclassed Chev in that fight. Just his movement, his shot placement. He just seemed in control. 11 out of the 12 rounds. Like the last round, he got rocked a little bit. But apart from that, he looked sharp. He looked really good. For me, I think he probably needs to go European level right now, because at British level, the cruiserweight scene, what have you got really? So I think he was supposed to fight Chamberlain. Does he really give Chamberlain that shot now? I wouldn't mind seeing it. I wouldn't mind seeing the fight, but I think probably go European level next. But Chamberlain is European level, to be fair. Go on,
yeah,
Ricky.
I would say so as well. Like I said before on the preview show, I didn't really know too much about either fighter. Obviously, only when I was spoke to and did a little bit of digging myself. And I kind of expected, this exciting fight that you fucking promised, really. but yeah, like you said, Vidal Riley just came out. The footwork was superior. He picked his shots. He had nice shot selection. He had a good style. Chevron Clark, he just didn't seem to get going. Every time he tried something, he just got nullified by Vidal Riley. Really good boxing. And like I say, just in cruise control all the way through the fight, mixing it up, head and bodies, nice combinations, nice shot selection. I kind of thought I expected. I know, and obviously not many people are as bothered about the British title, but obviously you'll know yourself, it's one of my favorite belts. And I just kind of thought, if that is like my belt and I'm defending that, I thought I'd seen a little bit more urgency, but I kind of thought like Clark looked a bit lackluster. Maybe did he overtrain for the fight? Maybe he just didn't seem to have the get go in him, and he just didn't seem to be able to have a plan B to be able to deal with Vidal Riley on the night. So yeah, really good performance from Riley. But again, that's a hell of a face and all from a punch, to be fair. But yeah, new British champion. I like to see what he does next. Obviously, I hope he does defend the British title a couple of times, don't just give it up as a step gap. Yeah.
Go on, Dad.
For me.
Yeah, no, like I already agree with what Ricky just said, to be honest with you. I mean, pre-fight, I picked Vidal Riley to win. I just think that one thing that he doesn't really get the credit for is that he's got a very extensive amateur background. If you go back and look at his amateur record, he's beaten the likes of Daniel Dubois, Chris Smith. You know, I think he's got like ABA title, so it kind of all speaks for itself. Albeit Chef Clark was an Olympian and stuff like that, but within that Chef Clark, I just think I've never really been on the Chef Clark hype train, really and truly. And albeit he lost his last fight, which was a close fight, albeit at European level, but I just think stylistically, Vidal Riley was all wrong for him, really and truly. And as it kind of showed on the night, you know, I thought Vidal Riley did what he had to do. I think that Chef Clark is kind of somewhat limited as well, with the greatest respect. I mean, he's very aggressive, come forward, which you'd think with an 18-foot ring, which would kind of suit him, but no, Vidal Riley just neglected, like nullified it every chance that he had, you know. So full credit. I think there's a lot of fights for him domestically at cruiserweight. You know, you already mentioned Isaac Chamberlain. There's Jack Massey as well, who was European champion. But yeah, I'd certainly like to see him go through the European stage, potentially win the British outright and go from there. But yeah, you know, he's a long way away from world level. But you know, just take each step as it goes, really.
Yeah, I think winning the British outright. I like when a fighter does that, especially at this time. Right now, if he can do it, there's decent names in and around that to do it with.
Yeah,
especially and the activity at the moment for fighters is high. Fighters can get out quicker. Vidal can get out of there. He didn't sustain anything heavy in there, so I think he can get out soon. But yeah, did you want to add out, Ricky?
To be fair, I was just gonna touch on the ring. Quite surprised that we didn't see an injury during that show.
There was a lot of
because there were a couple of slips, tumbles, fighters falling over each other. There was something wrong. I saw the referee wipe it during the Vidal Riley fight. They are quite lucky that they didn't like somebody didn't get, like, say, a flash knockdown from an accidental slip, and it didn't get ruled up one way. What were the issue with that? I know somebody mentioned it might have been just the material on the middle printing, but what does anybody actually know?
No one's really elaborated on it, to be honest with you. So I'm not quite sure what the issue was. I mean, thankfully it didn't really affect the fights all that much.
Yeah.
As you said, there wasn't ever a case where there was like a slip or a flash knockdown, you know, coming off of that. But it was strange. But it kind of felt as if it was influenced in almost every fight to a degree.
Yeah.
Well, Chevron Clark slipped and Vidal Riley nearly jumped on him from it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Leave her alone, Ra.
The next fight we've got is another surprise, to be honest with you. We've got Liam Smith versus Aaron McKenna. Aaron McKenna putting on an absolute performance of the night for me. As in just the fight itself, how he controlled the fight. I know Riley did really well, but the level of opponent he had compared to what McKenna had, it's levels above. Let's be honest. For McKenna to go in there at the age he is, no one really giving him a chance to win this fight. I certainly didn't. I thought he'd give a good account of himself. I thought that he would probably get stopped late by Smith because he'd have done so well in the early rounds. Smith would end up getting him late. But was I wrong? He controlled the fight. Every time he moved, he punched. He didn't allow Smith to pin him down. His punch selection was perfect. He kept his hands moving. Smith didn't really do too much wrong. He just couldn't pin McKenna down. It was a good fight for me. A great win from him. Dan or Ricky?
Yeah, no. To be honest with you, I mean, I know it sounds kind of cliche now, but I actually picked Aaron McKenna pre-fight. Like, I just thought that, but then a lot of it was down to bits of both. I felt as if that Liam Smith, albeit at his peak, was a very good fighter, but you know, he's been out the ring respectfully for 17 months. He had a whole heap of injuries around the Chris Eubank rematch. Then obviously he was supposed to be on the AJ Dubois undercard, but obviously pulled out due to injuries. And And at this stage as well, he's 36. So I think that kind of factored into it. But then I'd say from what I've seen of Aaron McKenna, like he's got a very underrated skill set. He's got very good fundamentals. Prior to this fight, he kind of fell into the who needs you club a bit, where he was a massive risk, but the risk kind of didn't weigh up to the reward. So not a lot of people kind of gave him many opportunities. But yeah, very impressive performance from him. One fight I'd like to see him in next would be potentially Denzel Bentley. I think that's the making of a war at middleweight. Obviously, Denzel's obviously fought at world level. Obviously, McKenna's just beaten Liam Smith. I think it's the perfect step to make, to be honest with you, Ricky.
Yeah, touching on that, Denzel, I think Conor Ben's already spoiled that for us, or Nigel has, anyway, because Conor Ben's already listed him. So there's no point really in watching any more Denzel fights because he's getting smoked by welterweights. But no, I agree. Aaron McKenna, for me, on that night, might be looking a bit too far ahead, but I thought a star were born, really. Like you said, his actual like ring IQ was very impressive. He came out, he didn't have no respect. And not like a sportsman, like a respect for Liam, but he had no respect for it. Like he had no respect for Liam Smith's own boxing ability. He didn't give him no edge. He didn't give him no breathing space. He was on him from the get go, punching on the back foot. Like you said, whenever Liam Smith was trying to move, he'd jab him, he'd tap him, he'd offset Liam's rhythm. He couldn't get going. The shots were hurtful. The shots were stinging. And what more impressed me more than anything was, even though he wasn't throwing like many combinations, are all single shots, but very consistently, but he kept that same pace all the way through the 12 rounds. Now that for me is like some serious fitness. Even just tapping away, and just constantly throwing shots. I was very surprised with Liam. I kind of thought, when plan A wasn't working, he was trying to track him down, trying to cut the ring off and try and work the body. Where's the plan Bs these days? Because that weren't working, so he didn't try anything different. He was just following, and I know he was hurt. I know he was probably tired after being absolutely flustered with shots for 12 rounds, but there just didn't seem no different mentality. He just went with the same pace, kept getting forward and kept getting tagged, and it seemed a little bit lost in there when he couldn't figure out McKenna. I thought McKenna were absolutely superb for the fight. I thought he did really well, and he absolutely shook me up. His nickname rings true, really. He silenced me because he fucking did really well. I was very, very shocked with him, and I was very impressed. The way he's able to snipe his shots and pick his shots were just unreal, and he looked just on a different level that night compared to Liam Smith, and that is not many people I can say have done that to Liam Smith, regardless of what age he is.
I was kind of happy he didn't get the stoppage, because a lot of people with a stoppage will go, oh, Liam Smith got stopped and then he's retired. He put a stamp on it. We're just dropping him at the end of the fight, just putting a stamp on the performance where people go back and actually watch the performance and not just see a highlight reel knockout and dismiss what he actually did in that fight, boxing wise. So I'm happy for him. I think Liam Smith's coach, trainer Joe McNally, went into his change rooms after that were really nice, like telling McKenna that obviously he's passed the baton on to him, told him how well he boxed, said to him keep going, he's a good fighter. And it was really nice to see the other corner just go in and give him praise and give a young fighter praise, and just validation of what he did that night was really good. So shout out to Joe McNally for that.
Yeah, most definitely. Liam Smith, I'd probably say road now. You've got nothing really left to prove. You've been a world champion. You've made great levels of money. There's no real point staying around at this stage. I think he's had a great career. I think that's probably the end of the road for him now.
Yeah, you don't want to see him. You don't want to see him become a gatekeeper. You don't want to see him becoming like what we discussed earlier with Barrett. We don't want to see him become just an opponent. He's too good for that. I hope he's got too much pride for that. And the big fights, after being dominated in the fashion he did, I don't think they will be there anymore. It would be a gatekeeper role for him.
Yeah, I think so too. I'd like to see Liam bow out. He's done a lot for his first sport. He's been a world champion. You're not chasing a world championship anymore. You've done that. You've been a British champion. You've held every belt, I think, just about. So you've done that. There's nothing else for him to prove. Being beat by a younger man, the older man getting beat by a younger man, that's boxing. That's literally passing of the torch. That's boxing. That's what happens. The veteran ends up getting beat by the young guy who ends up and hopefully does something. You know what I mean? And he can take
Unless
pride
you're
in
Mayweather.
that.
Unless you're Mayweather, then you slap Canelo up.
Yeah, true. We'll go to the co-main event of the night, which I think a lot of people was kind of surprised at this one as well. How it went. We've got Yard versus Arthur Free. To be quite honest with you, I didn't want to see this fight. I wasn't really that fussed. I was expecting Yard to go in there and do what he did in the second fight. I thought Lyndon, off of his last couple of performances, you look at Lyndon and you're like, yeah, I think it's about time you hang it up. I don't think you've got enough left, or even enough. I don't think you want it enough anymore. I think that's just it. But yeah, I've got a boxing podcast and I'm wrong again.
It's all opinions.
Yeah, well, Lyndon's performance was brilliant for what, 10 rounds, 9 rounds.
Yeah.
Really good performance. He was in the fight. His jab was on point when he kept letting it go. He had that pushing out all night. And we said before, when Lyndon used his jab, he's a really good jabber. He's got one of the best jabs in boxing when he uses it. But lately, he hasn't been doing that. But for some reason, it came back. He was on point. He was catching Yard coming in. Yard looked a bit lost at times, looked a bit stuck. He didn't know what to do. He was just going for power shot after power shot. And at the end of the fight, I think Lyndon lost it for himself. I think him leaning against the ropes, allowing Yard to smother him and let shots off. A lot of them wasn't landing, but there was some that was getting through. But it's the optics and how it looks. Yard is dominating you. Your back's on the ropes. You constantly. And when Lyndon jabbed off of the ropes and moved his feet, he was doing well. Yard was hitting fresh air. But for me, he lost himself that fight in the last 2 to 3 rounds. But yeah, it was a good fight, a great fight for the co-main event. Actually, going into the main event, it worked out really well.
Yeah. I mean, just like you, Eric, when it originally got made, I was a bit critical because of how the rematch went, because the rematch was quite conclusive in itself. Yard stopped him in 4 rounds, and then within that, as you said, Lyndon's recent performance prior, they've not really been very inspirational. But no, to be honest with you, I was thoroughly entertained. Kudos to Lyndon. As you kind of touched upon, he got his jab working. The only real thing I would have liked to have seen, I would have liked to have seen a bit more come off of the jab.
Yeah,
he didn't really ever really let the right hand go as much as what I would have liked anyway. And yeah, like you said, at times it was a very strange Yard performance, to be honest with you. First couple of rounds, from my perspective, I was thinking that he would be a bit more aggressive. I thought that there was times where he was trying to box with Lyndon, which I thought was quite bizarre, because you're giving him
why would you do that?
Giving him the best chance that he's got of winning the fight. Respectfully, Anthony Yard's not going to win a pure boxing match with Lyndon Arthur, as what we saw in the first fight and what we saw in the second fight. So from the time that he was doing that, I just thought it was madness. I mean, albeit he started to put in the work in the latter part of the fight, getting on the inside, smoothing a bit of his work. But as you say, it all boils down to optics and what the judges are seeing. And yeah, eventually he was able to just chip away at Lyndon Arthur, outwork him, and yeah, that was enough to get him the judge's decision. The interesting thing was that the AI judge actually scored it 114-114, which was a draw. So I'm not quite sure what happened there, but
no, but you know what? It doesn't really surprise me because he wasn't landing. If the AI judges is counting punches that are landed and actually connecting, it doesn't surprise me. I think for most of the fight, Lyndon won a lot of those rounds. Obviously, I was live doing the commentary, but I didn't score it properly on cards, so I couldn't see it. But I know Ricky had a proper look at it, and for me, Lyndon was winning the fight. He lost himself the fight. Go on, Ricky.
Yeah, it was one of those where, like you say, I expected fireworks in the opening rounds, especially from yard. I thought they were going to come out. I thought they were going to be explosive. I thought they were going to be quick. I didn't expect him to take the tactics he did. Like you say, like he was trying to box Lyndon at times, and that just didn't suit him. He had a weird. I don't know if he's normally. I don't feel like he's normally used it. But he had a weird guard. His guard was like almost like a kickboxer, a bit like that. And that might suit fast hands, but his hand speed isn't really there. I thought he smothered a lot of his work, especially when he got in close. And I thought Lyndon, I thought that the rounds were closely contested, but I didn't think either one really were that impressive. I thought it was a good dust up. I thought it was a good fight. I was a bit disappointed with both of their performances. In reality, though, I thought Anthony Yard could have done so much more. He normally carries quite a lot more energy. I don't know. He's normally a lot better than what he is. A lot more explosive, a lot more entertaining, and exciting than what he normally is. And I don't know if it's just because they've had that many fights now that they're just so used to each other's presence in the ring, and they're so used to what each other's going to do. Lyndon Arthur obviously learned from the last time that he got a spanking from him in the 4th round KO. So he obviously, his idea was to box on the back foot, potentially an outbox and outpoint Anthony Yard. But like I said, I had it even after 9 rounds, and I kind of expected, I expected Lyndon to be able to put his foot on the gas a little bit more. I didn't feel like he used that much energy. But obviously, I'm not the boxer in the ring, so what can I tell you when you got Anthony Yard pressuring you? But I just kind of think he just, like you said, I don't know if he thought you were ahead, if he's got the wrong advice, or if he just gassed and I just think, like I said, Anthony Yard was able to then pressure him and use his pressure a bit more effectively. He was able to pick his shots. A lot of shots, he had quite a few mini flurries, but they were very soft shots on the arms and elbows. They weren't really landing anything, nothing flush. They weren't this great big power punch that I expected from someone that's got 24 knockouts in 26 wins. But like I said, Lyndon Arthur boxed well. I thought the commentary team were very biased. It was a bit annoying at how biased they actually were. They had Lyndon Arthur, by it sounds like, leagues and bounds ahead until they saw the AI scorecard or somebody else's scorecard that might have had Yard ahead, and then they started sort of changing the tune a little bit. But overall, not a bad fight. I didn't think it was a great co-main event. I thought I expected a bit more from that fight, with it being a trilogy. I expected more assertion, more of a willing to settle the saga convincingly, but it didn't really get going. Unlike the main event, thankfully, because that were fucking terrible.
Now, for me, I was surprised by Lyndon's performance. That's where it's at for me, because I wasn't expecting my level of expectation for Lyndon in this fight was on the floor. So what he did, and to even go the 12 rounds, he impressed me. He had more in him. That might say more about what Yard is than anything, but he seemed to have more in him than I thought he did. So I give him props for that.
That's
the thing is, go on.
No, I was just going to say that I think at this stage of Yard's career, it's a very strange one, because he's had that fight on that boxer card, on the Adam Zeman card, where respectfully he didn't really set the world alight. He dropped the guy in the first round, and then the rest of the fight was quite poor. And then again, he's coming off a quite underwhelming performance with Lyndon Arthur. So, is it fair to say that he's potentially regressing?
On the decline.
Yeah, like maybe on the decline.
83.
Yeah, maybe.
The thing is, this is the time for me to make the Buatsi fight, because he's coming. Buatsi's coming off Buatsi's loss. Performance in the loss to Callum Smith was a better performance than what Yard put on in that win.
Yeah. Really agree.
So for me, just make that fight now, because neither of them, there's not many places for either of them to go at this moment in time. There's no other name they can go out there and say, oh, I can fight this guy and it makes more sense. There's no other fight that makes sense.
No, No, especially when all the titles are tied up as well. So it's the fight to
Yeah.
make. Fight to
Let me
make.
just shout out the chat because CJ's not here. I've got to do this stuff.
Big up Trey.
Big up to the Yorkshire lads from Trey. Yeah, big up Trey. Lee said, I thought the fight was boring. Well, same as you, same as you, Ricky. Don't diss kickboxing. Yeah, I would like to take a
kickboxing.
CJ looks a bit different. Can't put my finger on it. I don't know what you're talking about.
His blue hair.
Tiny bald head. Commentary was terrible. Yeah, I did have it on. I hate the commentary, to be honest with you. I heard Sky's commentary for the main event was atrocious, but now we're here. We're at the main event, and what a fight it was! What a fight! I don't know what I was expecting because I'm a Eubank fan. I just felt Eubank was going to win. I thought he was a better fighter anyway, but I was not expecting the spectacle we got. But before we start with the spectacle, we have to talk about what happened before.
Big up Rastafarian.
And because you was in the building, Dan, you was in the building that moment. That moment happened. What was it like in there? What was it like?
No, do you know what the funny thing was? Is that so? I'd just gotten back to my seat because I just going back to my seat.
One second, Dan. Let me see if I can play this.
Have a look at this. He's here, and the crowd are going wild. Father and son reunited. Simply the best, and that is.
Man, I don't see
that, but
when they,
goosebumps now.
when they showed it on TV, the TV doesn't really show how mad the crowd went, like genuinely. So it was in between the Aaron McKenna and Liam Smith fight, and so the round was just coming to the end. And next minute they've just without any form of announcement, they've just shown the big screen, and next minute a couple of people start cheering. I'm like, and then you just see this car, the doors opened, and out steps Senior, and honestly, it biggest pop that I've ever heard at a fight. Genuinely,
I swear, I was at 505 watch party, and the place. Dan, you know what that place is like? You was there last time. Everyone, it just came up on the big screen. You seen Senior. Everyone in there just started cheering. It was mad. Couldn't believe it. Everyone's looking at each other like, Seniors, come on. It was mad.
Honestly, no, I just as soon as I seen it, I was just like, oh my gosh. Like it was like you ever watch WWE where the Undertaker appeared there? It was genuinely.
Listen, the WWE couldn't write a better entrance than that if they tried.
No.
Speaking of entrance, I'm not gonna lie, Chris Eubank Jr.'s ring entrance to that fight.
Oh no, let me see.
The nostalgia pours out of me.
Greatest ring entrance time. I'm sorry. End the debate. Like that is the greatest ring walk of all time.
Unbelievable. Just hearing Simply the Best come on, and him and Senior. You know how many times I pictured that in my head in this build-up that would happen. Yeah, Dan, we've spoken so many times about even me and Ricky. Just imagine if Senior just turned up. I wish Senior would just turn up.
Wish he'd be there.
It's not even just turned up. It's the fact that they went from the Simply the Best, and all you hear is the footing beat, like boom, 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 and then then you get the little orchestra. It sounds like so heavenly. Then you just see Senior and Junior standing together, and then that transitions into Still Dre. I'm just like, wow. I was sold before they even threw a punch. I was sold before. That was unbelievable, man. Like honestly, I've got it on my phone. I've got the video on my phone. That's probably easily the best thing I've ever recorded. Easily, by far.
Yeah, it was absolutely mad. Like you sent me some pictures of like that, them walking in.
You know
That
what?
is just
I'm forever mad that I didn't get to record that bit because the screams from the crowd when Senior walked in, unbelievable.
I liked it when they showed the Bens just looking at the TV,
Oh,
as if to say,
I'm glad you mentioned that. I don't.
Well, that's the Ben dressing room watching the arrivals, and that is such a good picture. It really is. That's what this is about.
yes.
That killed me. That killed me. I think there was one of Eddie walking around laughing like he couldn't believe it. Bro, that was just, it was mad. It was so mad.
Like genuinely, it looked like Conor Benn had seen a ghost.
Yeah, it was.
Completely dropped. Like, wow. This was truly elite level mind games. Elite level.
From beginning to end. From beginning to end.
So for 2 years, for 2.5 years, Eubank Senior has absolutely trashed this fight. He says it's not going to happen. Junior's a disgrace. Weight classes, he's been going in on Eddie Hearn. He's been going on his own son. He's been absolutely critical of this fight. And for him to turn up at the 11th hour in the manner that he did, yeah, I'm not going to lie.
How he pulled up, just how he pulled up is mad.
How
he pulled up.
Like straight out of WWE, how he pulled up, weren't it? When the limousine just rocks up, and then they're just wondering who's going to get out.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. I honestly, when I saw his face, I just had Celine Dion playing in my head, and that's all I had. Just
I just saw comments.
And by Celine Dion, I'm on about the Titanic song, by the way.
Yeah.
Eubank Senior showing up surprised me, especially after him giving his son crap, saying he's a disgrace. I lost all hope when Junior said and addressed it at the press conference. I lost all hope then that was going to happen. I was like, you know what? They really don't talk to each other. Outsteps the true legend 100%. Will there be another Eubank fight? We'll get to that bit. But yeah, we'll get to the fight. Do you want to go? You go first, Ricky. You tell us what you made of the fight. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so from the first round, I thought Eubank Jr. established the jab very well. I thought he was looking like he was just going to work out, feel out Ben, look at what he sort of does, and just sort of box him, to be fair. Like you'd expect him in a normal first round. Ben, I kind of thought, I think, I don't know if I messaged you, but I was messaging someone anyway, and I was on about like nervous energy. Like he just looked, even from the standoff. Yeah, he was at the center of the ring. His eyes were wide. He just looked very, very like. I just kind of thought. I was saying to my wife at the time, I was like, "He's nervous. Him. I feel like I'm getting like nervous vibes from him." And then it sort of solidified it when he's moving around in the first round. He's like ducking, but like not. He's like aimlessly ducking. Like Eubank's not even throwing a shot, and he'd like roll, and then he'd move in angles that weren't gonna close down Ben. He was just moving. Eubank, sorry. And I just kind of thought, like, he's got a lot of nervous energy. Like he's obviously trying to burn off. Eubank picked him apart in the first round. I thought he boxed very well. You could see the movement weren't there, though, in his legs as his normally is, and the speed as well. And I'm thinking, is that the decline? It's 35, 36. Is he just slowing down? Or is it like the fact that he's fighting at 60, 70% from a rehydration clause? But second round, Ben comes out a little bit stronger, a little bit better, probably a little bit less nervous. The third round, my fucking heart was in my mouth because that big overhand, wild whooping right hand, and he just his legs went. I thought, no.
What was it like? What was it like, Dan, when that shot landed in the third round in that arena?
Yeah, what was that like live?
I mean, we ain't gonna talk about all of that. I'm joking. So when Ben clipped him with like a left hook, like honestly, like where I was sat, like the stadium just erupted. I was just like, my heart just dropped. I was just like, I was like it was like time froze. And then, he regained his senses.
I can't wait for the clips to come out of when I was doing commentary on that, because I'm sure my face would have been a picture when that shot landed, because, God.
Honestly.
But he recovered quickly.
He recovered quickly. It came out in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. He was boxing really nice. The fourth round, he comes out and he's setting up his jab again, and he like lunges in with like a 4-punch combination.
Yeah.
Now that a smart opponent might have caught Bank with a check hook there, but it landed so nicely and so perfectly. Again, his head movement started. He started leaning back. He started couching with the hook. He started throwing his uppercut a bit. His combination punches weren't all there, and I kind of think that again was something to him pacing himself, the rehydration. I'll keep going on about it, but it was not the Eubank we have seen. Eubank is used to just fucking flurries, constant flurries, multiple shots. He was never the best boxer, so he was always about throwing and out throwing his opponents and trying to fluster him with shots and pepper him. But then the 10th round comes, I think it is. And that's again where I think it's Ben. He lands. I think this is the lead left hook. I can't quite remember, but again, rocks Eubank, and Eubank's a bit more exhausted this time, a bit more drained. He doesn't hang on. He looks knackered. He's rolling out, trying to roll out the danger shots, but somehow manages to stay up. But then again, 11th, 12th round come, and then it's just an all-out war, just peppering each other with shots, just throwing and throwing and throwing. And how Ben stayed up in that 12th round after getting his head knocked back like a fucking bobblehead, I do not know, but he just managed to survive. And I bet the crowd, like when that round came 12, when Ben just looked like he was out on his feet.
It's that shot there. Where I thought he was done.
Knocks him.
Yeah, I thought he was done. That left hook, when that left hook landed and Ben's head snapped back, I thought that was it. He was done. But fair play to him for staying up with that. I still need to wait for certain things to come out next week or whatever.
He's waiting for popping.
And I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for confirmation. I'm waiting for a confirmation letter. That's all. But Dan, how was it? How did you score it there? I don't know if you were scoring it round by round, but how did it feel when you was in the arena?
Yeah. So to be honest with you, I was scoring it round by round, and then in between rounds, I was checking and seeing what people had it on Twitter and stuff like that. But from my personal opinion, I had it the exact same as the judges, 116, 112. I seen that the AI judge had it 117, 111, which but anywhere kind of like in between, 117, 111, 116, 112. I think absolute best for Conor Ben would be you could give him 5 rounds. I don't think he did enough to win the fight, to be told.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to. I'm not trying to be all critical of him. It was a valiant effort. He did himself proud. As you know yourself, Eric. I've been extremely critical of Conor Ben over the past few years and months. But you know what? I'm happy to eat humble pie and give credit where credit's due. Within that, I would say that I think that the rehydration clause has particularly affected Eubank. I don't think he was had direct result. And if you listen to Eubank Senior, he said that around round 6 he just didn't have his legs at all. Hence why he had to styles and was able to use his much bigger size and weight and just stand in the pocket and trade. So it was definitely a factor. I think without the rehydration clause, that he would have got
stops him.
He would have. He would have.
Yeah, I've got the same. My scorecard was, I was watching it, and I had friends down with me. So whilst I was commentating, they were watching and drinking and whatever, and we were scoring it round by round. And I thought it was clear Eubank won. I had it 116, 114, not 116, 112. Sorry. I was like, I finished, and I was like, how did you have it? And my mate was like, oh, I thought them cards were wide. I thought it were a draw, and I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And he was
No.
like, no. I was like, you're drinking too much.
Yeah.
You've been on Hennessy. You've been on the Hennessy. There's
I don't-
no way
No.
that's a draw. Not even close. So I'm waiting to hear back from Ted actually, see if he's watched it back with fresh eyes. Because for me, because these are some clips from the watch party we was at. I was commentating at.
Outstanding. Definitely we'll watch the rematch.
I'll watch that rematch.
October.
If they do a rematch, you know we're back here. Watch
Yeah.
party vibes.
October. Come on. My birthday.
Wow.
I need that rematch.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to 505 Shy. Them watch parties are absolute madness. If you get a chance to come down because I've got another clip here. Yeah, the night was mental, absolutely mental. But yeah, I thought it was I thought Eubank won it. I thought the fight itself was competitive. You didn't have too many lulls in the fight. Both fighters gave it all. That 11th and 12th round, just you could see both men how much pride they took in the last name in that 12th round, especially in that 12th round. Both men swinging. They were both hurt, both tired. But that fight itself is that not. It's not about the Eubank Senior and Nigel Benn. They've now got their own classic. Because for me, that I've not seen a British tear up like that. People can tear down the weights and well, Eubank's not even that good and Ben's unproven and they can do all of that. But styles make fights and boxing is about storylines. And the storyline them two have to come out and no matter what level of boxing they're at, to come out and give the fans and everyone a fight like that. Fair play to both men. Conor Benn's stock has gone up, I'd say, but
Yeah, drastically.
Yeah.
it has gone up. He's definitely got more respect from people than he had before. But I still haven't forgot what he did. In the ring, he showed he's got heart. He showed he belongs in the ring. He showed he can box as well at times.
Yeah.
In there. But yeah, fair play to both men. Absolutely brilliant.
It did, and I do feel like he did well. He was swinging. He was a lot faster than Eubank, and I know he's younger, but I don't think he had the engine that his dad certainly made out. I was claiming that Conor Benn's a 15-round fighter. I kind of thought Ben was swinging a lot though as well. Like he was just going for that big punch. He knew that if he caught Eubank off guard, similar to what Liam Smith did, he could probably hurt him, especially after the third round. So it was very scrappy. But obviously the small, like you got to think about as well, the undermining tactics by Eddie Hearn with a smaller ring, Billy Joe Saunders, everything else like that, all trying to play a part, the weight loss and everything else. Everything, even though people going about Eubank being the bigger man, everything was sort of set up for Conor Benn to win this fight. The referee constantly on Eubank's case. Not once did he pull up Conor Benn on any of his dirty tactics,
head,
pushing his forearm up and everything. So it was a great fight. It weren't the best boxing match you're ever going to see, but stylistically, like you said, styles make fights. And for a good old British dust-up, it's second to none for me. Would, in your personal opinions, I know like we're talking about like I know it's a 2-deal fight, as Ben Sean's been on TalkSport recently. It's a 2-deal fight with the rematch set to happen in October apparently, but I know September's being floated around as well. Would you like? Obviously, I thought, like I said, I've scored the fight myself. I got it once. I don't know if you can see the scorecard there or not, but 116, 112.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd like to see the rematch. I don't know if you're going to get that first fight as good as that fight. I mean, the second fight as good as the first fight, because that'll take some living up to, and I won't like to spoil that classic with the second fight that might not. 2, I wouldn't like to see Eubank with a rehydration clause again, because it's dangerous. It's not politically correct for me, and a fully hydrated and fit Eubank would have stopped Ben. You could see the way every time he landed a shot, his head His
Well,
head was like this.
just
You know what I
to-
mean?
just to-
Every time. Whiplash this
Just to
morning. be
piggyback
fair,
off
Ben.
that, I've got a little clip here. What I managed to clip of Eddie Hearn after in
Play
the
it.
post fight.
Maybe Junior should come down a little bit lower rather than Conor Benn coming up 2 weight classes. You know, I was baffled. I mean, we knew.
After this fight, I got caught with drug cheating as well. Do you know what I mean?
So
You got to think, you're back made.
Well, my thing
Go on.
is like Eddie had an issue with the scorecards at the end of the fight. He felt it was closer than what they gave it. He thought Conor did really well. He thought Conor hurt Chris several times. He thought all this praise for Conor. Why do you need more stipulations?
You don't, yeah.
This was 160 with a rehydration clause. You couldn't do what you couldn't beat him then. You said that you did better than people are saying. You did so good. Why the second time round? Why can't you? You're not even willing to do it with the rehydration clause. You want him to come down to 157 in order to try and beat this man. What else do you need in order to get a win off this man? I don't understand it.
Have you got the 157 picture still, Eric, with the weigh-in? Because
no, I don't think I have.
I don't think I have. That goes to show how dangerous it really is. He looks skin and bone, even at 160. I know he fights at 160, but he normally rehydrates.
Thing is, as well, as like not only was it at 157, it was with a £7 rehydration clause. Like I don't think people really put enough emphasis on that. Like that's just kind of put to emphasize how dangerous that fight could have truly been, alongside the fact Conor was on performance enhancing drugs. You know. So that was truly, truly, truly dangerous. Truly dangerous. But look, I mean, if rematch happens. But from my kind of point of view, you need to scrap that rehydration clause immediately.
Yeah. I think so. I don't think it needs
let me
to
just
happen.
jump in comments a second. Will Eubank have a rematch? It seems like they're going to. Me personally, I don't see the point in it. Apart from money, because Ben goes up there again. He's complained about all of this stuff. To go back and do it again and not get a win, what's the point? Even if you win, you've delayed your career another year, really, because you're staying at this weight. Getting back down to 147 isn't going to be as easy as he thinks.
But then, Eric, let me
go on.
Say that Conor Benn can make 147 again, because bearing in mind he hasn't fought there in 3 years. He's not fought
exactly
2022. Those 2 tune-up fights that he had last year, they were at 150, 154.
Yeah, 154. Yeah, 152, 153, or whatever. But yeah, that's the point.
Region anyway. So can he get down to 147 again after now? Obviously, having fought at 160. I mean, he came in the ring. Well, he weighed in at 156, but then he rehydrated to 165. So, what's the possibility that he can get back down to 147? We don't know.
On the night of the fight as well, it was rumored that he came in at over 170 then. For the night of the fight, I don't see it. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it apparently came in a lot heavier than what they actually made out.
I'm not sure about that because he looked quite small in the ring.
Junior's big though. That's the thing. When you've got
Junior
him
about 176, weren't he, on fight night?
Apparently so. Apparently he didn't put much on.
Yeah, I mean he couldn't really because
not in an amount of time and not properly, because you try to eat too much, that could really mess with you.
I mean think about it as well. So the weigh-in results for the rehydration, the second day weigh-in, that they didn't get released until 9 o'clock. So then really and truly he only had like 13 hours before he was in the ring. So no way he could have rehydrated that much. But
no.
Which kind of then goes back to my original point, and you scrap that rehydration clause, he would have got him out there.
Yeah, I think so. Libster said, I thought it was a draw. You was drinking too much when you was watching that.
Drinking too much.
Eubank had the better punches. I agree. There were plenty of times that I thought either of them were going to be dropped. Both men had a lot to live up to and decided to take it into their own hands and fought very, very well. I 100% agree. They definitely stepped out of the dad's shadow in in that fight. Just the pure heart, determination. They both showed. Main reason for a rematch is defo money. I agree, it is money, but like I said, it depends on what Ben wants to do with his career, because to go back up there, and let's be honest, if there's a rematch, there ain't going to be no rehydration clause. There was too much. There was too much thingy about it in and around it, but it was too late to do anything about it. And now to allow Chris, it won't happen. A rehydration, a 165 maybe, yeah, 160, but with a rehydration clause, I can't see it.
Yeah,
no, I can't see Eubank wanting to take a rehydration clause again, and I kind of think, like you said, I'd rather him see them both in their own divisions now and moving forward with the careers. Eubank, he's in the twilight zone, so it's time for him now. If he really wants to be a legitimate champion, like he says, and he wants that big fight, it's really time for him to push on, and there ain't no better opportunity for him to do that with the stock, because surely his stock has gone up as well. Champions may even underestimate him because of his performance against our welterweight. Ben, he will now be able to get bigger fights, even though he's not performed in 14 months. His stock's risen from that performance. I'd like to see him now push on and try and get a bigger fight at a welterweight division. I don't think he can I don't think he can fight at middleweight. I think if he comes up against a younger, bigger middleweight, he's getting destroyed, in my opinion. I don't see him at. I don't agree with super welter, like the supers weight classes anyway. They annoy me, but welterweight, I kind of think that's the right weight for him. Is only, what is he, 5'7", 5'7", something like that.
Yeah,
he's not the biggest.
And junior,
look at Callum Smith.
Super welterweight. Super welterweight. The guys that up there are too big for him. Let alone 160, and they're just too big for him. This fight, it's styles makes fights. Junior was coming down. He was making concessions to allow this fight to happen. Ben came up. They did what they had to do for this fight. I don't think Eddie wants him to be back in there with it. How they've been sounding. I've got Abbas from iBoxingHub. He asked Eddie a question. I'll just play it now.
You kind of just answered it a little bit, but Connor's alluded to wanting the rematch. But if you had to pick an option right now, would you like him to take the rematch or fight at a natural weight for it?
I would like to see him return to 147 pounds and fight for a world title there. I mean, look, we have Boots there. Obviously, he's looking to unify and become undisputed and move up. The belts are going to become available. I just know that Conor Benn can sell out any arena in the UK now, fighting at 147 pounds. But the public, His Excellency, everybody's going to want, you heard His Excellency in the ring. He's already, I think he's booked.
So that's Eddie saying that he wants Conor at 140. So I think Eddie's just protecting his asset. You can get that one payday with Chris, and your career might be done, or you can go out and sell arena, like Eddie said. He probably will sell arenas now. The thing with boxing is the only way you can redeem yourself with the public is by fighting and putting on performances. There's no point talking, saying this, trying to clear yourself or whatever. The only way you can get the fans back on your side is getting in the ring and swinging. And those two guys did it, and Conor's certainly gained a lot of fans back with that performance. Rightfully so. I have my stance on him. Boxing wise, I will be judging him based on just boxing wise, not as a fan. Put it that way when I make my judgments and who he's fighting. But he deserves credit. He definitely deserves credit. I'll just hit the comments.
Jokes.
Connor says, same height as Ricky.
5'8". But picture this as well, though. Quickly, picture this: Conor Benn, if he stays up at middleweight, versus Callum Smith.
Callum Smith's leg is bigger than Conor Benn. Jerky said, "Hello, mates. All right. First this in boxing. Now my AU vodka." What makes Turkey so excellent?
His delight. Fucking Turkish
No idea.
delight.
Trey says, Ricky, you're a legend. Yeah, I think, you know what, for boxing, it was the right decision. What happened on Saturday night, it was perfect for boxing. The guy who's done everything right won. The guy who's been hated his whole career finally got the love from the fans for once. Unanimously, he had the backing of the crowd. I don't think Junior's ever gone into a ring with the backing of the crowd, and to have that, especially in that fight, Eubank Ben fight, I'm buzzing for him as a massive Eubank fan. I'm absolutely buzzing for him. I think this picture here with his dad, just celebrating that win for me is just gold, absolute gold.
Just simply the best.
It is the contrasting emotions right here. You've got one has to lose, one has to win, unfortunately. And am I happy it was Eubank who won that one? Because right now I might not be doing this review. I'm not gonna lie.
No, you would. It'd be even better, so I think. No, but for me, it was like I felt like both fighters won that night. Like they both can walk away. They both put up an incredible performance. It was a great fight. It was a great scrap. And I just think it's time for him to move on now. I tell you what I also liked as well is I liked the shorts. Now, I don't know if many people would have clicked on like many.
Yeah, they both had the same shorts.
Both had the same shorts as the dad's 35 years ago.
Yeah.
And like I said, the ring walk from Eubank when Simply Best played, it gave me goosebumps. Obviously, Eubank's a bit before my time with that first fight, but I still get goosebumps nevertheless as a big boxing fan. So I just like the nostalgia of everything hit right, it hit home, and it was a great generational fight for everybody to watch. Not just casuals. You could watch that with your granddad. Do you know what I mean? That was that type of fight. It was really good spectacle. Yeah, welterweight versus middleweight. Couple shrouded in controversy, egg slaps, missed weights, massive fines for 22 grams.
It made it perfect. I think it made, like I said, boxing, big fights are about storylines. And this storyline just kept ebbing and flowing and so much. And the fact that I'll let Dan go and do his closing after this. And the fact that Ben's whole promotion thing was your dad don't even like you. Your dad's not even in your corner. Your dad don't like you. Your dad this, your dad that. You know what I mean? Just because of all that. And for them to open that door and Senior just to be sat there with the biggest smile you could ever see, it was brilliant, and the fight lived up to it. The crazy thing is that entrance. If the fight didn't live up to it, would be like that entrance was sick. The entrance was brilliant, but the fight lived up to every bit. It made the entrance even better. The fight made the entrance even better. Go on, Dan.
No, I mean, overall, I don't know where it ranks in terms of events and cards that I've been to, but I'd certainly up there. Certainly up there. I mean, regardless of all the optics beforehand in terms of the controversy with the PEDs and the weight and the eggs, should I say, plural, albeit, rehydration, and it wasn't a Eubank at 100%. It was just a fantastic night of boxing. It would be interesting to see what it did commercially in terms of pay-per-view numbers. I don't think if it doesn't hit a mil, it will certainly come close, because the promotion in terms of that fight was remarkable. It was absolutely remarkable. Yeah, like I say, I like what Ricky said. I think now would be an appropriate time for them to kind of go their own separate paths. Ben, he's 28. He's 28 now. I think 147 is going to be tough for him to get down to. Whether he can make it or not, I'm not quite sure. Within that, there's tough fights there. There are tough fights. I mean, you got Boots Ennis, who's
there's tough fights, but there's the names. There's the names. That's the thing. And Ben now, his name is there, and he can headline against any of those guys, and they can do it in England.
Fight, isn't it?
I mean,
he's a money fight.
I think as of right now, I mean, really and truly, I'd say they're both, in terms of the UK landscape, I'd say they're both certainly commercial superstars now. Like, you know, Eubank's probably at a stage where he hasn't got many fights left, so he can certainly command any fight he really desires now. Ben probably not got that same kind of pedigree, but hey, he can certainly go. He can certainly come again, and yeah, you know, if the rematch happens, I certainly wouldn't be against it. But you know, you just gotta scrap that rehydration clause, and yeah, you know, it'll definitely. Well, put it this way: there was definitely not an empty seat on Saturday in Tottenham. Definitely not.
No.
A lot of people were kind of referring to, oh, you know, there's a few tickets still being scattered around, this and that, but no, it sold out. It sold.
Just before we go, I just want to see if I can get this on. This will be the last thing. If I can manage to screen share it, it'll be good. Let me see if I can do it. This is madness.
Isn't that a band?
1 second.
Youngsters become champions.
If I can show it.
Because you need hunger. You need to be hungry. And the fact that you've kind of been brought up within these four walls here and you've been protected, I don't think you're going to be hard enough.
I just want to try it. I just want to see what it's about. If my dad can do it, why can't I do it?
That's the argument. 20 World Championship wins, son.
Nah, man, that's beautiful, man. And the maddest thing,
you know how?
Yeah, man, that was beautiful, and I made an edit of it, and Junior posted it today.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I saw that, but I just felt like I had to play that. I had to play that just to show, like, this. As much as people hate Junior and stuff like that, I saw that years ago. Absolutely, at the beginning of his career. That's one of the reasons why I'm a fan of him. When you see stuff like that, a kid at 13 years old wanting to box, begging his dad to box, and his dad saying, "You're not tough enough. I don't think you're tough enough because I've built you. I've given you everything you needed. You're not tough enough." And for that, and for obviously you posting that video, Dan, as well, for the performance he put on in that 12th round where he was clearly hurt and he kept pushing forward, he hurt Ben. To show your toughness in that moment and to see that video when he was 13 is just, it's fitting.
Nah, man, it was beautiful, truly, truly beautiful. And then there was one part in that clip as well where Senior actually says, you know, he's going to be one to watch.
Yeah.
But I just sure hope that it's not in boxing, man. And you know, it's beautiful, man. It was truly beautiful because Junior didn't have to fight. You know, Junior could have just.
Yeah.
Two rich boys, weren't they?
Could have just been a nepo
boys.
Yeah, could have just lived off the Eubank name and just sat around and done nothing. But the fact that he went and pursued a career in boxing, regardless of what you think of him and regardless of what you think of his career choices and decisions, like I've not fully agreed with at times. But the fact that he's kind of got to the level that he's had and been very successful, kudos to him. Can only respect that.
Without a coach as well for like 5 years as well, to be fair. And like you said, comes from a rich background, so just kind of, he doesn't have the same background as like what Nigel would or his Rastafarian Yardi dad, Senior. So, you know what I mean? It's done really well. And like, I don't know if any of you are readers, but if you read like Senior's book as well, it's a really good enlightenment of him as a person and his actual struggles with the way he looked, like with his eyebrows and everything. So, yeah, he had struggles of his own. So, really good read that. But yeah, great fight.
I'll just a few shout outs before we leave the building. Jokey Joe says this fight needs a documentary 100%. It will get one. It's probably in the works now. Reminded me of the excitement of WWE Stone Cold days, 100%.
Stone Cold.
Sky should give you lads free tickets. I wish they would.
Don't wait for Sky, Mum. Don't wait for Sky.
But right, Dan, thanks for coming through. I appreciate it, brother. Great episode. Ricky, usual again, top. People, you need to go on our Facebook page and have a read of Ricky's review for this for the last few events, but especially this one. It's a good read. Bang on analysis of the fights, each fight as well. So give that a read on our Facebook. Dan, do you want to give them a shout out where they can find you?
Yeah, On the Record Boxing, man. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the main social platforms, man. You know, got a few things in the pipeline at the minute. Yes, you know, stay tuned, stay following, man. You know, shout outs to Eric for letting me come through.
Nah, thanks for coming through, bro. Yeah, this is the end of episode 2, and we'll see you Thursday. We'll see you Thursday with our preview show for the big weekend. You've got Ryan Garcia versus Rowley, Devin versus Ramirez, and Barboza versus Tio, as well as Canelo versus Skull. Munguia in a rematch with Suarez or Suarez, whatever his name is.
And Nue as well.
Nue as well. Nue back in America.
But also, go on,
Ricky.
Also, just for me, it's like, if you like what we're doing, like the content, obviously we're only boxing fans. We're not experts, but we just talk everything boxing. Like, share, subscribe to his channel. Dan's gonna make his debut on the Boxing League, aren't you, Dan?
What?
We'll get him on the Boxing League.
Yeah, Boxing League. I'm there. I don't know what the Boxing League is, but I'm there.
Nah, it's our Boxing League on Facebook. We'll send it.
Yeah, send it through and I'll join.
All right, sweet. Right, peace. We'll see you on Thursday.
Money gets tight.